Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I welcome you to another episode of our fascinating series towards understanding Surah Yusuf. I'm your host Yasir Qadhi. In our last episode, we had discussed the moment in which the king allows Yusuf to become the minister of Egypt. And after a while, his brothers come and visit him, and Yusuf alayhi salam asks his brothers to go bring back the youngest brother, Binyamin. And today, inshaAllah ta'ala, we will resume the story from where we left it off last and talk about how Binyamin comes to Yusuf and how Yusuf alayhi salam manages to keep Binyamin in Egypt with him. Stay with us.
لقد كان في قصصهم عبرة لأولي الألباب ما كان حديثا يفترى ولكن تصديق الذي بين يديه وتفصيل كل شيء وهدى ورحمة لقوم يؤمنون.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to another episode of our series towards understanding Surah Yusuf. In our last episode, we had discussed the fact that the king allows Yusuf to become the minister of finance. And the years go by, and Yusuf alayhi salam is a very successful minister. He manages to make sure that the people are provided for. He stores the grains very provisionally. He takes care of all of the requirements such that when the famine strikes, not only is he able to take care of the people of Egypt, but they have such a surplus that people are coming in from abroad. People are coming in from other countries in order to obtain the grain. And of the people who came were the very brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam. They too were suffering from the drought and poverty, so they came with merchandise, they came with things that they had, and they wanted to purchase grain as well. So Yusuf alayhi salam required them to bring their brother the next time they came back. So today, inshaAllah ta'ala, we will take off the story from where we left it off, and as is our custom, we will recite some verses before we explain them. And today, inshaAllah ta'ala, we will recite from verse 62 all the way up till 67. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقال لفتيانه اجعلوا بضاعتهم في رحالهم لعلهم يعرفونها إذا انقلبوا إلى أهلهم لعلهم يرجعون فلما رجعوا إلى أبيهم قالوا يا أبانا منع منا الكيل فأرسل معنا أخانا نكتل وإنا له لحافظون قال هل آمنكم عليه إلا كما أمنتكم على أخيه من قبل فالله خير حافظا وهو أرحم الراحمين ولما فتحوا متاعهم وجدوا بضاعتهم ردت إليهم قالوا يا أبانا ما نبغي هذه بضاعتنا ردت إلينا ونمير أهلنا ونحفظ أخانا ونزداد كيل بعير ذلك كيل يسير قال لن أرسله معكم حتى تؤتون موثقا من الله لَتَأْتُنَّنِي بِهِ إِلَّا أَن يُحَاطَ بِكُمْ فَلَمَّا آتَوْهُ مَوْثِقَهُمْ قَالَ اللَّهُ عَلَى مَا نَقُولُ وَكِيلٌ وَقَالَ يَا بَنِيَّ لَا تَدْخُلُوا مِنْ بَابٍ وَاحِدٍ وَادْخُلُوا مِنْ أَبْوَابٍ مُتَفَرِّقَةٍ وَمَا أُغْنِي عَنْكُمْ مِنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ إِنِ الْحُكْمُ إِلَّا لِلَّهِ عَلَيْهِ تَوَكَّلْتُ وَعَلَيْهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُتَوَكِّلُونَ. So in these series of verses, Yusuf alayhi salam tells his servant, his slave, to place the merchandise that they brought. We can imagine it would have been furs, it would have been other produce from Palestine, to place the merchandise back in the very bags of grain that he sold them. So he sold them bags of grain. And inside these bags, outside of course it's closed, it's locked up, it's sewn up, deep inside these bags, he returned the very merchandise that they brought with them. Why did he do this? He wanted to show them his nature and hospitality. He wanted to show them he meant them no harm. And perhaps also he felt awkward accepting payment from his father. Obviously, this merchandise comes from his father primarily, and then the works of his brothers. So he probably feels awkward accepting money from his own father and his own brothers. And remember, he is the minister, so this is in his right to do. Somebody will say, how could he have done this? The response is because he is the one in charge. And the one who is in charge, if he has been delegated this authority, the king has given him the authority to do as he pleases. So it is in his full capacity and right to do as he pleases, because the king has given him this position and power. Now, somebody here might ask, why did he ask them to bring Binyamin? What was the reason for asking his brothers to bring Binyamin back with them? Because remember, we said the 10 brothers came. And now, Binyamin becomes the beloved of Yaqub alayhi salam. Just like before, Yusuf was the beloved that the father could never be without. When Yusuf goes away, when Yusuf is taken away, Binyamin takes that status. The father never wants to leave Binyamin out of his sight. So he sends the 10 sons. And the 10 sons come. And they enter in upon Yusuf alayhi salam. So Yusuf begins questioning them. Who are you? Where are you from? And so they tell him their whole story. That we are travelers from Palestine. We have a father, his name is Yaqub. And we have a brother remaining at home. So he accused them, no, you must be lying. You are spies. You are this, you are that. If you are truthful, then bring me this brother. Let me see if you're telling me the truth or are you lying or not. If you are truthful, bring me this brother. Don't you see how generous I am, he says? Don't you see how hospitable of a host I've been? Not only has he given them their full measure, but also he has taken care of them. So in other words, he has housed them, he has clothed them, he has given them food. He became their host, and that is not something that a businessman does. He is taking their business, he doesn't have to host them. But he was so generous to them that he gave them banquets after banquets, and he gave them gifts, and he showered them with hospitality. On top of that, he gave them the full measure of weight back that they bargained for. And to add the final aspect of his generosity, he secretly returns the merchandise they came with. And he says, if you want to do this again, if you want more food, you must bring your brother back, otherwise you will never get any more food from me. So they return home excited, thinking that what a great and noble minister, he has treated us so nicely, he has given us so many gifts and things, and also he's given us extra measure and grain. So they go to their father, and they enter in upon him, and they say, "Oh, our father, we have been prevented from getting any grain." Now they had not been prevented, but they're being melodramatic. They're being melodramatic to make the point home. Unless you allow Binyamin to come, we're not going to get any more money. So they say, "Muni'a minna al-kayl." We have been prevented, but they hadn't. They had come back with a full grain of camels. All of their camels were full of food. But they are saying, we will be prevented. And they're using the present tense to emphasize the point, to make sure that the father understands the severity of the situation. So they said, فَأَرْسِلْ مَعَنَا أَخَانَا نَكْتَلْ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. Send with us our brother so that we can get some more money, so that we can get some more bargain, we can get some more grain, and we will protect him. Notice they use the exact same وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ, the exact same phrase that they used for Yusuf. The exact same, word for word, letter for letter. It is no surprise that when they say this phrase, all of the memories of Yusuf alayhi salam come back. All of those memories, because they are asking for now his brother, just like they asked for the older one, now they're asking for the younger one, with the same words. So what does he say except, قَالَ هَلْ آمَنُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ إِلَّا كَمَا أَمِنْتُكُمْ عَلَى أَخِيهِ مِنْ قَبْلِ. Do you expect me now to trust him with you, just like I trusted his brother before? Do you think I'm going to do this now? You already have done something to his brother, and now you want me to give Binyamin over to you? No. فَاللَّهُ خَيْرٌ حَافِظًا. Allah is my best protector. Allah will take care of me. I don't need your help with your food, and you're negotiating with the minister. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect us. وَهُوَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ. And He is the most generous and the most merciful of all those who have mercy. He will not see us starve to death. He will take care of us. I'm not going to give Binyamin over to you. So they begged and they pleaded, and they tried and they're persuaded. But Yaqub alayhi salam had learned his lesson, and he refused to hand Binyamin over. Dejected, rejected, they went back to their belongings. You can imagine when they had come home, they would have rushed in to tell their father of all the news and to try to negotiate Binyamin to come again. When they were rejected, they went back outside, they unpacked their belongings, they opened up all of the grain to store it in the special storage house, and lo and behold, وَلَمَّا فَتَحُوا مَتَاعَهُمْ وَجَدُوا بِضَاعَتَهُمْ رُدَّتْ إِلَيْهِمْ. They opened up their bags, and they found their very goods had been placed inside and returned to them. So they rushed back to their father again. قَالُوا يَا أَبَانَا مَا نَبْغِي. They said, our father, what do you think we want? We don't want anything else. Look, this is the grain that we have come with, along with the merchandise. هَذِهِ بِضَاعَتُنَا رُدَّتْ إِلَيْنَا. Our merchandise has come back to us. This is exactly what we went with. We're coming back with all of our goods. And you can imagine it must have been a lot of goods. Why? Because grain is scarce. Food is what everybody wants. And they have come now to Egypt, all the way to Egypt, to buy and purchase this food. وَنَمِيرُ أَهْلَنَا وَنَحْفَظُ أَخَانَا. And we will bring food for our family. نَمِيرُ أَهْلَنَا. We want to get food for them. وَنَحْفَظُ أَخَانَا. And we will protect our brother. وَنَزْدَادُ كَيْلَ بَعِيرٍ. We will increase one extra camel. If we take Binyamin, we will have an extra camel. وَنَزْدَادُ كَيْلَ بَعِيرٍ ذَلِكَ كَيْلٌ يَسِيرٌ. This is a very easy way to gain extra food. We need to take a short break now. As soon as we come back, we will continue from where we left off. Stay with us.
لقد كان في قصصهم عبرة لأولي الألباب. كان في قصصهم عبرة لأولي الألباب. لقد كان في قصصهم عبرة لأولي الألباب. كان في قصصهم عبرة لأولي الألباب.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. So the brothers of Yusuf, the older brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam, now they are arguing with their fathers, and they're saying, dear father, look at this. Our merchandise has been returned to us. What do you think we want? مَا نَبْغِي. What do you think we could possibly want now? This minister has been so hospitable, so generous. He has given us so much grain and food, and he has given us our merchandise back. What do you think we would want? Send Binyamin with us, because we want to get food for our families. Imagine now, remember, it's a drought, it's a famine. They don't have food for their families. Each of these brothers would have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wives, many wives. You don't know how many, probably, or at this time they say, Allah knows best, they say there were 70, 80 people within the family of Yaqub alayhi salam. Where will they get their food from, their grain from, their sustenance from? So they're begging and pleading with their father, the grandfather of their children, the great-grandfather of their children. And they say, give us Binyamin, and we will come back with an extra load of food. This means that Yusuf alayhi salam was very wise in that whoever would come, he would give him a certain amount of food. So he would give food to the quantity of people who came. So for every man, for every camel and man, he would get a certain ration. So if Binyamin came, then Binyamin could have gotten another camel load, another amount of ration. Instead of 10, they would come back with 11. So seeing the verdict, seeing this merchandise returned, the heart of Yaqub softened. And this was exactly the plan of Yusuf alayhi salam. Yusuf alayhi salam knew his father very well, because it is his father. And Yusuf knows very well that he is not going to allow them to take Binyamin unless he is fully confident that everything is as it appears to be. So he plays the generous host, and he plays the very hospitable minister, to show that he cares for them, he loves them, he wants good for them, and he returns the merchandise. So when the father sees this, and he knows that there is no way now that they want any evil, so then he says, قَالَ لَنْ أُرْسِلَهُ مَعَكُمْ. He says, I will not send him with you, حَتَّى تُؤْتُونِي مَوْثِقًا مِّنَ اللَّهِ, until you give me a solemn oath. You swear by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لَتَأْتُنَّنِي بِهِ, you are going to bring him back without any doubt. إِلَّا أَن يُحَاطَ بِكُمْ, except if you are surrounded and you are overpowered. In other words, an enemy comes and you cannot help him. He is physically taken away from you. So they all agreed to this. فَلَمَّا آتَاهُ مَوْثِقَهُمْ, every one of them, individually, one after the other, all 10 of them, they agreed. فَلَمَّا آتَاهُ مَوْثِقَهُمْ قَالَ اللَّهُ عَلَى مَا نَقُولُ وَكِيلٌ. He said, indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a sufficient guarantor. Allah will guarantee. Al-Wakil is the one who witnesses and guarantees. So he put his trust in Allah after taking the necessary precautions. And this shows us the essence of tawakkul, of putting your trust in Allah. Putting your trust in Allah is done after you have taken all the means. It's not that you sit back and you say, I put my trust in Allah. If Allah has willed, I will get sustenance, I will become cured, and if not, then I won't. That's not the way you practice tawakkul. Tawakkul means you put your trust in Allah, but then you do everything you can. If you're sick, you take medicine. If you're sick, you go to the doctor. If you're poor, you find a job and you work. And then you put your tawakkul in Allah. So here is Yaqub. He has been fooled by his children once, and he refuses to be fooled twice. Now he sees that they are sincere. Even then, he makes them promise. Promise by Allah the most solemn oaths, that no matter what happens, you will bring him back to me, unless you are surrounded by an enemy that you cannot do anything, and he is physically taken away. So after they gave him his promise, then he said, indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is al-wakil. Allah is the one who will guarantee everything. Not you. It's not in your hands. It is in the hands of Allah. So he took every precaution possible, and then he put his trust in Allah. And that is the way of the believer. Moving on, he said, وَقَالَ يَا بَنِيَّ, he said, oh my dear children, لا تدخلوا من باب واحد. Don't enter the city from one door. وَادْخُلُوا مِنْ أَبْوَابٍ مُتَفَرِّقَةٍ. Rather, enter the city from many different doors. Now, what is this concept of entering the city from a door and many different doors? What is all of this about? Well, you see, the cities of old, up until very recently, the cities of old, all of them were walled. Every city. In ancient times, the city had a gate around it. It had a fortress around it to protect the inhabitants of the city from an invading army. And the fortress around the city would have a number of gates to come into the city from. The gates would open in the morning and close in the evening, and nobody would be allowed in except in the morning. And this is the case even Mecca and Medina, all of the cities of the Muslim world, and of course this is way before the Muslim world, all of the ancient cities would have this to protect them from outside enemies. Therefore, Yaqub alayhi salam tells his children, don't enter the city, all of you together, 11 children, from one gate. Rather, enter all of you from different gates. Split yourselves up. 2 from this gate, 3 from that gate, 2 from another gate. Split yourselves up. وَادْخُلُوا مِنْ أَبْوَابٍ مُتَفَرِّقَةٍ. Now, why? What difference will that make? Well, this leads us to the topic of al-ayn, or evil jealousy. Now, this is something that has a lot of misconceptions in our religion. It is true, we affirm it. The Prophet ﷺ said, Al-aynu haqq, or evil jealousy is a reality. We do not deny it. But some people have gone to extremes in this regard. Some deny it outright, and others take it to an extreme level. What is al-ayn? We have to explain very briefly, even though this is a long topic in and of itself. Al-ayn basically means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed a certain person who has a strong amount of evil, hatred and jealousy and animosity, Allah has allowed that jealousy and animosity to physically affect another person. This is the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes that jealousy will affect another person, and sometimes it will not. This is what al-ayn is. It is up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If a person feels that jealousy, and he doesn't control it, then it is possible that that jealousy, shaitan will cause some type of physical harm to the other person. Perhaps that jealousy fuels something in shaitan, and shaitan manages to inflict some type of pain or suffering on the person. But the one who has that jealousy is sinful in the sight of Allah, unless and until he controls that jealousy. So, Yaqub alayhi salam was telling his children to avoid people getting jealous at them. Why would people get jealous at them? Well, here you have 11 handsome, strong men of a different tribe, a different country coming in. And all of the children of Yaqub were very handsome. And of course, Yusuf was the most handsome. And they are walking in all together. And it is only natural that families, people, other communities will become suspicious and worried, will become jealous. Who are these people? All of them dressed the same, all of them speaking a different language, all of them resembling one another. And some type of jealousy or hasad or ayn would affect them. So he wants to minimize suspicion and fear, and that's a natural thing, and also minimize envy and hasad, jealousy. And that is a supernatural thing that he wants to minimize. And he fully realizes, وَمَا أُغْنِي عَنْكُمْ مِنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. This will not help you if Allah has willed otherwise. Because whatever Allah wills happens, but we take the means necessary. You see, this is the whole point. In the end of the day, we all know everything is decreed by Allah, but we have to take the necessary precautions and measures. This is what we are required to do. Whether we are healed of a sickness or not, Allah knows about it. But we are required to take the medicine for that sickness. Whether we get some money or not, Allah knows about it. But we're required to work and find a job. Similarly, whether somebody affects us with hasad or not, Allah knows about it. But we are required to minimize the problems that we might face. Hence, from this we extract the benefits of concealing the blessings of Allah without any reason to display them. There's no reason to boast to other people about the wealth Allah has given you, about the privilege Allah has given you. Hide it from people unless there is a reason to show it. You don't have to be extravagant. You don't have to go out of your way to show that you are extra special, extra holy, extra blessed. If you do so, this might be a problem in your heart of arrogance. So he says, وَمَا أُغْنِي عَنْكُمْ مِنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. This will not affect anything in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنِ الْحُكْمُ إِلَّا لِلَّهِ. Verily, the judgment only belongs to Allah. Notice, beautiful. The same phrase was used by Yusuf alayhi salam, and now it is being used by Yaqub. Yusuf used it when he was giving da'wah to the prisoners. Yaqub is using it when he is advising his sons. It is the same phrase, إِنِ الْحُكْمُ إِلَّا لِلَّهِ. And the point over here for this phrase is that judgment belongs to Allah. Whatever Allah wills will happen. It's not what you will. It is whatever Allah wills will happen. عَلَيْهِ تَوَكَّلْتِ. In Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I put my trust. وَعَلَيْهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُتَوَكِّلُونَ. And in Him, all of those who put their trust should put their trust. So the concept of tawakkul, which we have talked about a little bit, again is emphasized over here. It is in Allah I trust. Whatever Allah wills will happen. But I need to basically make sure that all of the decrees are done, that there is no cause for people to feel envious or jealous of you. So here is Yaqub alayhi salam advising his children. You may take Binyamin, but you must promise me that you will bring him back unless it is beyond your control and you are surrounded by an enemy. And he says, when you enter the city, make sure you enter it individually from different gates, not in a large quantity. Not that it's going to help you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever Allah wills will happen, but I am just trying my best to make sure that that the people are not unduly jealous of you. Now, before we conclude, there are a number of fiqh points, of legal benefits that we can derive from this. And of these legal points, one of the things that we can derive is the fact that business transactions do not have to be verbal transactions. What is this referring to? Well, some of the scholars say in order to buy and sell, you need to tell the person, I am purchasing this from you, and give him the money. And the other person say, I accept this from you, and gives you the merchandise that you want. In other words, there has to be a verbal transaction. From this episode, we see Yusuf alayhi salam returns the merchandise without saying anything. And the people accept it back from Yusuf alayhi salam. So basically, if you were to walk into a store, let's say a convenience store, and you want to buy, let's say, a juice, you can take the juice, you give the person money, and you walk away without saying anything. There's no words exchange, it is just the money and the merchandise. So there is not a necessary condition for words to be exchanged, and throughout the course of the next few episodes, we will derive some more legal benefits as well, and this is one of the side benefits of the story of Yusuf. We also obtain some legal benefits in our fiqh. This brings us to the conclusion of today's episode. Insha'Allah ta'ala, in our next episode, we will continue from where we left off. I hope to see you then. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
لقد كان في قصصهم عبرة لأولي الألباب كان في قصصهم عبرة لأولي الألباب لقد كان في قصصهم عبرة لأولي الألباب ما كان حديثا يفترى ولكن تصديق الذي بين يديه وتفصيل كل شيء وهدى ورحمة لقوم